Jeopardy's latest champion, Scott Riccardi, has scored the highest two-game winnings in over 2 years after his risky final wager resulted in a big payoff. As fans complain that the latter half of Season 41 has been a massive letdown with boring games and few multi-day winners, today's 4th of July episode ended with fireworks in a shocking final Jeopardy! Scott returned to Friday's game in hopes of continuing his one-day winning streak and extending his earnings of $17,600. The engineer from Somerville, New Jersey went up against Andy Levinson, a senior paralegal from Narberth, Pennsylvania, and Ricky Chondock, a financial assurance senior from Boston, Massachusetts. Scott was quick to find the first daily double under the World Capitals category, boosting him $1,000 right off the bat. By the time the trio of contestants entered the Double Jeopardy! Round, Scott was already off to a big lead with $7,600. Ricky was in a distant second with $3,600 while Andy remained in third with $1,800. The returning champ continued to use his quick buzzer work and strategic gameplay to increase his impressive lead. He found the second daily double under the TV Makes History category, improving his score by another $4,000. By this point in the game, Scott already banked $22,400, much higher than many contestants at this stage in the game and far more than second-place Ricky's $10,800. Just when it seemed like Scott had locked in another runaway win, Ricky went all in when he found the third daily double under You're All Getting Medals. He wagered his entire $12,000 earnings, doubling his score to $24,000 and surpassing Scott for the lead. Despite Ricky trailing him by more than $10,000, Scott now had $1,600 less than his competitor. Feeling the pressure, Scott was able to clock into some difficult clues, which he all got right to boost his score. Going into Final Jeopardy! Scott took back the lead with $26,400 while Ricky was in a close second place with $24,400. Andy remained in a much distant third in the nail-biting game with $7,400. Host Ken Jennings, 51, then introduced the final category, Geography, as the players placed their wagers. Due to the results dramatically changing just before the last round, the results of the game would come down to how Scott and Ricky strategized their bets. Ken then read the final clue. In 2023, these two nations agreed to redraw part of their border near the Matterhorn due to melting glaciers. Both Scott and Ricky were correct in writing down what is Switzerland and Italy. Ricky only bet $2,600, giving him the end result of $27,000, which is more than the winnings of most Jeopardy! Games. However, Scott went for a massive swing and shocked fans by betting it all on Final Jeopardy!, wagering $24,000. When his wager was revealed, host Ken was stunned, exclaiming "Holy cow!" as the audience loudly gasped. Scott won Friday's game with $50,400 while he took home a two-day total of $68,000. That high of winnings is so rare, no one has topped that amount in over 2 years. Back in May 2023, former 9-game winner Ben Chan took home $60,000 in a single game. No player since then has gotten anywhere close to that amount, or even gotten near $50,000 in a single game. It was a night of heart-pounding trivia, razor-sharp strategy, and electrifying risk as Jeopardy! Fans across the nation were left breathless. Reigning champ Scott Riccardi didn't just win another game, he etched his name in the Jeopardy! Record books with the highest single-game winnings in 2 years. And it all came down to a final wager that many believed was reckless, until it wasn't. The build-up to greatness. Scott Riccardi had already garnered attention with his sharp memory, calm presence, and surgical precision when answering clues. Entering his 10th game, he had a streak going that had long surpassed expectations, with fans comparing him to Jeopardy! Greats like Matt Amodio and James Holzhauer. But Riccardi's calm demeanor betrayed none of the brewing storm. He had been playing consistently, even cautiously, for most of his run. Many believed that while he was a strong champion, he wasn't the kind of player to swing for the fences, until the July 28 episode aired. "I knew I had to make a move," Riccardi later said in a backstage interview. "The board was fast, the competition was sharp, and I felt the pressure of needing to do something bold to prove I belong in the top tier." A game of giants. Riccardi's opponents that evening were no pushovers. Joining him were Denise Carter, a history professor from Pennsylvania with lightning-fast buzzer reflexes, and Ethan Lynn, a biomedical researcher who had previously auditioned 5 times before finally landing on stage. The first 2 rounds were tight. Riccardi held a modest lead going into Double Jeopardy!, But Denise closed the gap rapidly after landing both daily doubles back-to-back. Ethan, too, made a quiet comeback, methodically climbing up the scoreboard until the trio stood separated by just a few $1,000s. Then came the twist that turned the episode from great to legendary. The final Jeopardy! Gamble. Going into Final Jeopardy! The scores were: Scott Riccardi, $28,400. Denise Carter, $26,200. Ethan Lynn, $14,800. The category: Famous American Speeches. The clue: this line, delivered on the steps of the Lincoln Memorial, was not in the original script but became one of the most quoted in history. Riccardi stared at the screen, his expression unchanged. Fans at home were sweating. Denise looked confident. Ethan looked hopeful. After 30 tense seconds, the answers were revealed. Ethan had written, "What is I Have a Dream?" Correct. He wagered everything and doubled the $29,600. Denise, "What is I Have a Dream?" Also correct. She bet $20,000, landing at $46,200. And then the screen turned to Riccardi's response. He had written, "What is I Have a Dream?" Correct. And then came the bombshell: Riccardi had wagered everything, the full $28,400. Total winnings, $56,800, the highest single game total in nearly 2 years. Shock, applause, and a bit of controversy. The audience erupted into cheers. Even host Ken Jennings appeared taken aback. "Well, Scott," Ken said with a grin, "you said you were playing it safe before. You sure broke that habit tonight." The risky wager paid off, not only granting Riccardi his 10th consecutive win but also launching him into Jeopardy! Fame. Social media lit up within moments of the episode airing. "Scott Riccardi just pulled a Holzhauer-style move and it worked. My jaw is on the floor. #Jeopardy! @Trivia Queen 2025. That final wager was insane. Who bets it all with 2 opponents breathing down their necks? Scott, that's who. #legend, @buzzer beater Ben. I screamed. My dog barked. My popcorn flew. That was the best episode of Jeopardy! In years. #Scott Riccardi, @Jeopardy! Addict _." But not everyone was on board. Some fans questioned the ethics of such a bold bet when he could have won with a smaller wager. Reckless move. One misstep and it would have been over, one Redditor wrote. Not sure it's great strategy long term. Still, others praised the courage. Jeopardy! Is as much about drama and instinct as it is about knowledge, tweeted former champ Austin Rogers. Scott just proved that. The man behind the wager? Scott Riccardi, a librarian from Albany, New York, has charmed audiences with his understated humor and encyclopedic knowledge. But he's also shown himself to be a student of the game. I've studied how champions play, he said. Sometimes, you have to bet big to make a statement. Tonight felt like that moment. His inspiration? James Holzhauer, he admitted. He broke the mold. I figured, why not try it once? With his 10th victory and total winnings now sitting at over $250,000, Riccardi is confirmed for the upcoming Tournament of Champions, and fans are already predicting fireworks. What's next for Riccardi? The question now on everyone's mind, can Scott keep this up? Many Jeopardy! Fans have seen champions fall after big wins, their momentum disrupted by the emotional roller coaster of such a high-stakes game. But Riccardi insists he's staying grounded. I'll keep doing what I do best, read, learn, and stay calm under pressure. Producers have hinted that the next few episodes will feature some of the toughest challengers yet, potentially setting the stage for another dramatic showdown. Still, one thing is certain, Scott Riccardi has already made Jeopardy! History. With the highest game total in 2 years, a bold strategy that paid off, and a growing legion of fans, he's not just a contestant anymore. He's a phenomenon. Final score recap. Gold medal emoji, Scott Riccardi, $56,800. Silver medal emoji, Denise Carter, $46,200. Bronze medal emoji, Ethan Lynn, $29,600. As the camera faded to black, Ken Jennings gave one final nod to Riccardi's boldness. Scott, tonight you didn't just play the game. You rewrote it. And somewhere, James Holzhauer was probably smiling.